In the boundless fire domain, Xiao and the others arrived at the Yao Clan leader's residence in just a few minutes. The Yao Clan leader's residence was quite magnificent, standing like a grand manor within the heart of the fire domain. After all, this person was now a mentor to many alchemists in the boundless fire domain, constantly busy, to the point where the manor was home to many rare and precious medicinal herbs. Thud, thud, thud. Under the guidance of the guards, Xiao and the others gently arrived outside the stone chamber used for alchemy. For a moment, they didn't dare to enter recklessly. Who is it? I've told you countless times not to disturb me while I'm refining pills. An impatient and slightly angry voice came from inside the stone chamber, followed by the stone door being pushed open. The Yao Clan leader's alchemy skills have truly become terrifying. 8th grade earth-level sacred pills are not something just anyone can refine so easily. Having just entered the outer part of the stone chamber, Xiao felt the fluctuations of a pill the size of a dragon's eye rising slowly within the alchemy cauldron. He couldn't help but laugh. He was too familiar with this kind of fluctuation. Xiao, you brat, you've finally returned? The anger in Yao Wanyuan's eyes instantly disappeared, and he waved his hand, sending the guide who had accompanied them away. Within the sealed stone chamber, only 4 people remained. The eerie silence in the chamber suddenly became strangely tense. Senior, about the Immortal Realm? Xiao looked around and noticed the absence of others, so he directly asked. Compared to our human realm, the Immortal Realm, though sparsely populated, possesses extremely powerful cultivation resources. The Immortal Realm is also a land long coveted by many, a sacred place for countless people. This invitation indeed came from the Immortal Realm, specifically for the Immortal Realm Alchemy Conference. A deep joy appeared in Yao Wanyuan's eyes, though a greater sense of worry was more apparent. Xiao strength was certainly formidable, but for his alchemy skills to truly shine in such an extraordinary gathering, the challenge would be immense. After all, those invited to such an event were likely the top practitioners, and the competition would be fierce. The Immortal Realm Alchemy Conference? I've heard that within the Immortal Realm, some of the best alchemists from the entire Great Thousand Worlds reside there. It's even said that the 9-grade rank, a legendary status, has only appeared in a handful of people. Little E took a deep breath, sharing everything she had learned. Her voice turned hoarse when mentioning the 9-grade rank. A 9-grade alchemist from the Divine Realm was close to reaching the pinnacle of alchemy in the Great Thousand Worlds. Their status and position were likely comparable to that of the Grand Elder of the Fire Spirit Clan, or even someone like Poison God. That's right. The Immortal Realm is indeed a place where there are many alchemists, and their skills are incredibly terrifying. The winner of this alchemy conference will receive a 9-grade pill formula and a soul battle skill at the immortal level, along with many rare treasures. However, Yao Wanyuan, clearly very familiar with this matter, directly shared the most useful information. Truly terrifying. However, clan leader, what are you worried about? Xiao nodded. He certainly had to go to the Immortal Realm. After all, his alchemy skills still needed improvement. Moreover, this would be the perfect opportunity to refine the reincarnation rebirth pill. Wouldn't that be killing 2 birds with 1 stone? This event will be held in the upper 3 heavens of the Immortal Realm. I fear that powerful figures from the Immortal Realm Center will interfere. After all, the extraterritorial evil clan is eyeing us, and there could be unforeseen changes. Yao Wanyuan's expression grew increasingly worried, his eyes flickering with unease. By the way, this was given to me by a monk from the Buddhist realm. He said it was yours, and now it's returned to its rightful owner. But on the way, it seems it was attacked by some mysterious force. That monk has already fallen. The attacker used a white flame, a power that's both mystical and enigmatic. Luckily, this monk was clever enough to employ a strategy to divert the enemy. Otherwise, this item would have certainly fallen into someone else's hands. While speaking, Yao Wanyuan carefully checked around to ensure there were no suspicious individuals. After confirming, he lightly activated the red space ring on his finger, and a long black stone box, several meters in length, quietly emerged. The moment the stone box emerged, the entire energy in the stone chamber instantly became still, and an ancient, travel-worn aura assaulted the senses of everyone present. White flame. Faint traces of the white flame remained around the black stone box. Xiao furrowed his brow and reached out to touch it. Whoosh! With a sharp sound, Xiao quickly retracted his hand as if struck by electricity, and an eerie, chilling aura spread throughout the room. What is this flame? Various questions troubled Xiao. After repeatedly confirming that the god-slaying ruler in the black stone box had completed the first step of tempering, Xiao carefully placed it in his pouch. After the first tempering, the god-slaying ruler could clearly exhibit the dawn of its divine power as a divine artifact. Coupled with the enhancement of the sacred patterns in Xiao body, his trip to the Immortal Realm now had considerable self-preservation power. The second-ranked divine artifact, with its overwhelming power, could be witnessed by heaven and earth. Domain Master, there is something I'm unsure whether I should say. After handing the Immortal Realm Alchemy conference materials and the God-slaying ruler to Xiao, Yao Wanyuan hesitated and said, "Speak." Xiao responded calmly. "I feel that recently, Hun Tianhao seems somewhat unusual. His strength hasn't even entered the reincarnation stage, but sometimes the aura he emits makes even the supreme elders of my clan feel a chill. Moreover, this guy has been very elusive, and it's really, even though he acts very cautiously, some suspicious points keep emerging. Domain Master, I think we need to be on guard against this guy." Yao Wanyuan thought for a moment before deciding to speak. His expression was unusually serious. If he hadn't discovered a few suspicious points, Yao Wanyuan would never have looked this grave. "Then keep a closer watch. If you find any concrete evidence..." Xiao eyes turned cold, and he lightly gestured across his chest. "If this is just an unfounded rumor, it would pass like a joke. But if there's real proof, it would need to be cleared up properly. After all, the Boundless Fire Domain is everyone's base. Anyone with ill intentions can't be allowed to stay here. This time, let the Supreme Elder accompany the Domain Master. The experts in the upper three heavens of the Immortal Realm are no slouches," Yao Wanyuan said. "Now, with so many things going on, it's better for the senior experts to stay here. The trip to the Immortal Realm, the three of us will be enough," Xiao said with a mysterious smile. "1 month from now, the trip to the Immortal Realm will officially begin. All right, we will rest for a month before heading to the Immortal Realm." Xiao eyes flashed with a rare excitement, but deep down, his heart was filled with unease. It seemed that this journey to the Immortal Realm would not be so simple. A month passed quietly. During this time, everyone worked on resolving the remaining issues in the Boundless Fire Domain. As for Kailin, Mu Yingying, and the high-ranking members of the Boundless Fire Domain, they secretly observed the inner details of each key figure, including Hun Tianhao, but none of the powerful figures discovered anything unusual for now, so they could only take their time. Time passed, and Hun Tianhao and Elder Wind left for the dragon-watching sect, unsure if they would find any clues about the Dragon Clan's residence. After all, compared to the Phoenix Clan, the Dragon Clan's residence would be even harder to find. At the Boundless Fire Domain, at the spatial portal, Kailin, Mu Yingying, Xun'er, Xiao, and Little E stood. As for the other high-ranking members, they continued to maintain the order in the Boundless Fire Domain. After all, leaving the Boundless Fire Domain for the Immortal Realm was considered a secret, so not many people were alerted. The grand hall used for the spatial portal was filled with an ancient atmosphere, but it now also carried some other emotions mixed in. "Let's stop here. We are going to the Immortal Realm. Attending the Alchemy conference is secondary. Our real goal is to secretly investigate the Immortal Realm and some hidden matters. As for the Boundless Fire Domain, I'll leave it to you." Xiao turned and said softly to Kailin and Mu Yingying. A single sentence from him was more meaningful than 1,000 words. Because of his own reasons, Xiao needed to continually improve his strength, so at this stage, he couldn't stay by the side of the women. He truly felt guilty, but there was nothing he could do. At times like this, someone had to step forward. Otherwise, if the Boundless Fire Domain becomes isolated, its fate would only be destruction. "All right." Kailin nodded, fully understanding Xiao thoughts, so she didn't react. On the other hand, Mu Yingying, standing next to her, pouted in dissatisfaction. "Thank you for your hard work." Xiao Yin smiled as he walked up to Mu Yingying, gently lowered his forehead onto her fragrant shoulder, and inhaled deeply. A sweet fragrance accompanied by a strong wave of desire surged. This simple gesture made Mu Yingying's chest rise and fall violently, her heart pounding, as if all her grievances had vanished without a trace. "You." Feeling the strong, sweet scent, Mu Yingying suddenly shuddered. Her cheeks flushed red as she looked at Xiao Yin in disbelief. Qianqin and Xun'er were still right here. This guy actually did this? Humph. Far away, Xun'er crossed her arms angrily, but she didn't explode on the spot. Mu Yingying transformed her sacred flame origin into the boundless fire domain, enveloping and protecting the land. This made even the normally proud Xun'er feel ashamed, and since the two girls acknowledged Mu Yingying's existence, they had somewhat neglected her. Now, they could only turn a blind eye to the matter and let it pass. "I'll be back soon." With a soft voice, Xiao Yin and the others directly entered the spatial passageway, heading towards the Immortal Realm. "Let's go. There are still many things to handle in the boundless fire domain. By the way, Sister Qianqin, it seems there's an endless abyss over at Princess Qianqin's side. Recently, some unfriendly energy has been coming from there. If we have time, we should probably investigate it." Buzz buzz. As they entered the void once more, they hadn't traveled far when a blinding flame ripple burst forth, sweeping across the space, transforming into a graceful figure. "Is this Princess Qianqin?" After a pause, little E was initially stunned. Then, seeing the slender figure before her, she spoke in surprise. "I really did catch up. The Great Elder sensed your aura and built a spatial passage to send me here to protect you. By the way, during our trip to the Immortal Realm, there are things that belong to us fire spirits that need to be retrieved. With our fire spirit clan involved, your position will also become much more secure." Princess Qianqin gracefully turned around and spoke nonchalantly, though her gaze toward Xiao Yin was filled with complexity. This guy's strength and the invisible pressure he exuded were far stronger than the last time they visited the Fire Spirit Clan. Princess Qianqin's desire to compete with Xiao Yin had also greatly diminished. Since the matter with the Fire Spirit Clan ended, they had long since put aside their prejudices. Now, the Fire Spirit Clan had become more united and thriving, so naturally, the Great Elder's request couldn't be refused. "Let's go." Xiao Yin and Xun'er exchanged a glance, both nodding with approval. After all, Princess Qianqin's strength had grown to the peak of the fourfold reincarnation stage, much stronger than before. With the support of the Fire Spirit Clan's foundation, their combined power was indeed formidable. Since that's the case, let's head to the Immortal Realm. After a brief explanation, Little E nodded and looked towards the end of the void, which seemed to be the entrance to the Immortal Realm. "Wait. I've been transmitting from the Fire Spirit Clan for several days now. During this time, I've detected some hidden evil forces within this void. Their goal seems to be the Immortal Realm. What do you think? Interested?" Princess Qianqin's gaze was fixed on a certain strange area in the void, and she pointed her finger. That place resembled a stubborn stain adhering to a rocky area, never to be separated or erased. "Then, please lead the way." As soon as the words left her mouth, everyone concealed their figures and moved through the spatial passage, following the traces that Princess Qianqin had previously gathered towards the evil land. Glug glug. In the dark corners of this void passage, there were narrow regions resembling filthy sewers, drifting like leaves in the wind. These evil corners seemed to cover only a few dozen meters, and were clearly places used for communication and intelligence gathering. "What's going on?" A strange, pressure-filled voice emerged from the darkness in a filthy, crude dwelling. "Report, sir. Everything is proceeding according to plan. This time, there will be no mistakes." In the darkness, two pairs of green evil eyes moved, constantly exchanging words. This matter was personally ordered by the Dark Demon Lord. If anything goes wrong, you all know the consequences. As the conversation ended, several mournful howls echoed through the room, and the voices completely vanished. "Those damned fools. If it weren't for our race's handles being controlled by you, we wouldn't have become your dogs. I hate this," The roar filled the narrow room. "You're in a hurry. Where are you going?" A sweet voice echoed from all around the room, followed by an overwhelming wave of fire and heat. Fire spirits? Sensing the intense burning sensation approaching, the shadow left in the darkness let out a sinister and eerie voice, then began to burn up like the last rays of the setting sun. It seemed like it wanted to escape. "Don't let it run." Celestial demon formation. Princess Qianqin stood tall in the passageway, and as radiant, colorful musical notes flashed across her body, they formed a barrier, blocking all the escape routes of the shadow before her. At the same time, Xiao roared, and a massive formation of demons, hundreds of feet in size, descended like a giant net, ready to strike. Sensing the combined strike of the two reincarnation stage experts, the shadow let out a terrified roar. Its form became somewhat ethereal as it quickly flew toward the distant void, seemingly attempting to hide away. Judging by its actions, it appeared to be trying to avoid the two of them. Whoosh! Unfortunately, the shadow's power was only at the reincarnation stage, and it was no match for Xiao and the others. After only a brief escape attempt, it was suppressed in place, unable to move. Even though its power was weak, as its body was suppressed, the shadow's form trembled violently, and a strange aura began to surge out. "Oh, this aura? Is it someone from the Immortal Realm?" As the aura surged from its body, a brilliant light appeared within the house. Upon seeing this, Qianqin furrowed her brows and looked at the figure in front of her, disbelief in her eyes. The Immortal Realm was different from any other realm because its people practiced unique cultivation methods and possessed energy that primarily radiated in colors. Thus, one could easily tell whether someone was from the Immortal Realm just by looking at them. The Immortal Realm governs a very small territory, but those capable of crossing planes and stepping into the upper three heavens are all highly talented individuals from their respective realms. An Immortal Realm person? Why would they be involved with the extraterritorial evil clan? Be honest. Xiao surroundings churned as majestic formation patterns surged, overwhelming the area. The force within the formation twisted the surrounding space itself. The aura coming from the shadow clearly indicated it was from the extraterritorial evil clan, but unfortunately, Xiao and the others had arrived too late. Whoosh whoosh. The power of the heavenly demon formation started to unravel the evil aura surrounding the shadow, and within the blink of an eye, the figure was fully exposed. Looking at it, the shadow was bathed in a peaceful, colorful glow, and there was a mysterious pattern on its chest. It looked extremely strange. This mark, it's a unique symbol from the upper three heavens of the Immortal Realm. Qianqin stepped forward, closing in on the shadow, seemingly intending to probe into its memories. Soul power. Buzz buzz. A series of buzzing sounds spread from Xiao body, then invaded the shadow's body. At the same time, the space in front of them began to distort, and a bizarre, illusory image appeared. In the image, there were no other elements, just a peculiar scene frozen in time. The stillness of the scene revealed 10 eerie, dark-colored hanging coffins, each radiating a chilling aura, as if they were demonic coffins from the depths of hell. Once opened, they would likely stir up a great commotion. Crack! With a sound, Xiao and the others hadn't even fully comprehended what was happening before the still image shattered like crystal fragments. The restrained shadow's body trembled slowly, and in the next moment, it turned into a puddle of pus. Clearly, it had triggered some ancient restriction, causing both its form and spirit to be obliterated. A miscalculation. At that moment, Xiao retracted his soul power, staring at the increasingly calm void before him, still unable to come to terms with it. The extraterritorial evil clan had stagnated for so long, but this time, they would surely make a major move. The trumpet for a great heavenly battle was drawing closer. The shadow, along with the house, collapsed, and the group's bodies began to drift once again through the space tunnel. However, their expressions were extremely solemn. With only the still image to go by, no useful information could be gathered, yet the situation was incredibly delicate. They knew that their trip to the Immortal Realm would likely be a journey through a dragon's lair and a tiger's den. But they had no choice but to proceed. Has the Immortal Realm been infiltrated by these evil creatures? Or is it possible that the first stop of the extraterritorial evil clan is the Immortal Realm? After a long silence, Little E was the first to speak, her gaze fixed on Xiao and Qianqin, seemingly aware that the two of them knew a lot more about the information. The things we just saw definitely have an extremely evil fluctuation. 10 eerie black coffins. The pressure they gave off was unlike anything I've encountered before. Unfortunately, we don't have more time or clues to investigate further. Xiao frowned deeply. The scene from the still image had been too shocking. That power was even greater than anything he had faced with any extraterritorial evil clan strongman. And there were 10 of them. But why would such overwhelming power appear in the deepest memories of this Immortal Realm person? What did this represent? This is also why I'll accompany you to the Immortal Realm. The Great Elder seems to have sensed some movement from the extraterritorial evil clan, but exploring it in detail is as difficult as reaching the sky. Princess Qianqin nodded and shook her head. Let's go to the Immortal Realm first. One step at a time. Hopefully, the powerful individuals there can sense the extraterritorial evil clan's plot and crush it before it escalates. After a brief conversation, Xiao could only helplessly shrug his shoulders. The Immortal Realm is one of the many worlds within the Great Thousand Worlds, a realm where the inhabitants and legendary beings are those from countless tales in the human realm. The central part of the Immortal Realm is also subtly involved in this matter, but the strong beings in the center of the Immortal Realm are fewer compared to the other 7 realms. The upper 3 heavens of the Immortal Realm consist of the Jade Pool Wonderland, Penglai Wonderland, and Grand Void Heaven. As for the so-called center of the Immortal Realm, it is said to be a void space individually created by the Realm Master of the Immortal Realm Center. It exists in a mysterious empty space somewhere within the upper 3 heavens. No one knows its entrance, except for the strong beings of the Immortal Realm Center. However, this void space in the Immortal Realm Center is highly sought after by countless powerful beings. To be able to cultivate there means having the chance to grasp the path to ultimate power. The Battle God Stage. As they traveled through the void, Princess Qianqin explained the basics of the Immortal Realm to the 3 of them. Jade Pool Wonderland, Moon God Palace, Floral God Palace, and the Alchemy Sacred Hall are a few of the most formidable sects in the upper 3 heavens. Even the strong beings of the Immortal Realm Center hold them in high regard. Our goal on this journey is to stand between the Moon God Palace and Floral God Palace, in the Alchemy Sacred Hall. It is the paradise of alchemists, the true sacred ground for those who seek pills and medicine. Throughout the journey, Princess Qianqin spoke patiently about everything related to the Immortal Realm Center. Even Xiao and the others could tell from her words that the so-called Immortal Realm was not something simple. For Princess Qianqin, who was usually so proud to yearn for this place, the name Immortal Realm was truly deserving. Just as she finished speaking, the void before them subtly shook, and a dazzling yet soft light flashed, illuminating their bodies. All their weariness seemed to dissipate instantly. The Immortal Realm has arrived. A long-awaited sense of peace and longing surged uncontrollably within them. The 4 knew that their journey to the Immortal Realm had officially begun. Time seemed to fly as they crossed the blinding passage and stepped into the Immortal Realm. The blinding light flickered, and after a brief pause, they stood upon a vast and endless void. Gazing out, they saw the vague outlines of countless cities in the distance. The cities seemed to form a magnificent blueprint resembling a colossal ancient beast, appearing before their eyes, causing a slight stir in their hearts. Upon closer inspection, they could sense the presence of many powerful auras within these cities, filling them with awe. The Immortal Realm has arrived. Looking at the vast expanse of sky and earth, Xiao eyes gradually grew fiery with excitement. The paradise of alchemists. For Xiao, who had been diligently researching alchemy but remained stuck at the 8th grade level, this place was clearly an invaluable treasure. Even more importantly, according to Yao Clan, when refining pills of the 8th grade level, adding some rare ingredients could lead to an unprecedented terrifying improvement in the quality and potency of the pill. The materials for the reincarnation rebirth pill were already prepared, but such a high-level pill was meant to devour the third-ranked Sacred Flame on the Sacred Flame ranking. Xiao couldn't afford to be the slightest bit careless. Anything that could improve the quality of the pill was worth pursuing. As they gently flew through the void of the Immortal Realm, a fragrant scent greeted them, and occasionally, some immortal cranes and birds perched nearby, giving the place an air of serenity unlike the human world. This place, humans and nature truly coexist harmoniously. Xun'er was slightly startled upon seeing the immortal cranes. This idyllic world was indeed something to be deeply admired. The ancient cities were situated amid massive mountain peaks, looking like a wild beast lying in the mountains. They could be roughly divided into dozens of large cities. However, at this moment, the cities were surrounded by extremely powerful energy barriers. At the entrance of these barriers, there were vigilant guards carefully inspecting the incoming individuals. The streets of these cities were bustling with an enormous crowd, far larger and stronger than any gathering Xiao had seen before, even at the grand ceremonies of the Yao Clan in the Boundless Fire Domain. What a terrifying scale! Just the formation of these buildings and the number of powerful beings contained within them must surpass any other realm, except for the human realm. Literally glanced around, sensing overwhelming auras emanating from the protected cities. Even their fire spirit clan couldn't compare, let alone the supreme beings from the center of the Immortal Realm. Let's go. We'll find a city to settle in first, and then plan the next steps. Our journey to the Immortal Realm isn't just about the Alchemy Conference. There are some matters we need to address as well. Xiao shook his head and led the group toward a nearby city. Strange, there seemed to be some ancient palaces at the edge of these cities. In the blink of an eye, Xiao looked around, his gaze sweeping over the illusory palaces hidden on the outskirts, their powerful fluctuations almost too overwhelming to bear. Welcome, everyone, to the upper three heavens of the Immortal Realm. This is the Grand Void Heaven, in Purple Creek City. Please show your identification. As soon as they reached the edge of the energy barrier, a well-trained soldier asked solemnly. To maintain such a massive event in this realm, such checks were inevitable. While they couldn't eliminate all suspicious individuals, they were still quite effective. Proceed. Naturally, Xun'er took charge of these matters, and Xiao didn't need to worry. As the mistress of the Boundless Fire Domain, carrying identification and such documents was second nature to her. Boundless Fire Domain? The soldier frowned as he took the ancient scroll from Xun'er's hand, and one of the sharp-eyed guards gasped upon seeing the words. What's wrong? Xun'er blinked, confused, as she looked at everyone. It seemed their expressions had turned strange as soon as they saw Boundless Fire Domain. No problem, no problem. Please go ahead. In a few days, once the influx of visitors to the city reaches its peak, the City Lord will personally lead you to the Alchemist Hall to participate in the Alchemy Conference. If you are an alchemist, you will naturally shine at the conference. Even for those accompanying others for sightseeing, there are plenty of valuable treasures in Grand Void Heaven. Picking up a few rare items would be a great thing. As their conversation ended, they passed through the energy barrier and headed toward the Grand City. However, from start to finish, Xiao eyes and inner energy seemed focused on one person. The one whose expression had looked so strange earlier. Big Brother Xiao? With a flash of light, everyone instantly arrived at the city square. The bustling scene was chaotic. You all go find a place to settle in first. I've noticed something suspicious. I'll be right back. After saying this, Xiao suddenly retracted his aura and quickly turned into a shadow, vanishing into a dark corner, seemingly following someone. This technique, naturally, came from Xiao Zifen's Fire Guard Master, and unless someone was above the third reincarnation stage, they wouldn't be able to detect Xiao presence. Strange, no one's following me? Xun'er and the others calmly continued toward their accommodation point in the city, while a figure quietly emerged from the shadowy corner. Watching the group leave, the figure shook his head slightly. This figure was, of course, one of the strange guards from earlier. Forget it. I'll report this first. Boundless Fire Domain, Sword Domain. These forces need special attention. As his words fell, the man stepped towards the heavily fortified City Lord's mansion. Strange. This guy's aura definitely has the scent of the extraterritorial evil clan, but looking at his appearance, he doesn't seem to have the usual traits of the extraterritorial evil clan. Though this man was hiding his aura perfectly, Xiao Yan's keen senses and judgment saw through it immediately. Big brother, can you buy me some sweet osmanthus cake? Just as Xiao Yan appeared and, after shaking his head, was preparing to track down Xun'er and the others based on their auras, a light, soft, and sweet voice came from behind him. Turning around, he saw a very delicate little girl. Her large, watery eyes were particularly captivating, but what drew the most attention was a faint pattern between her eyebrows. The pattern resembled a starry moon, faint but real. You, Ru? Looking at the mysterious star-moon pattern on the little girl's forehead, Xiao Yan's mind recalled a long-forgotten figure. That girl, who had gone to great lengths to find a healer to treat her father's illness, seemed to have disappeared after parting ways in the Qianqin continent. Xiao Yan vaguely remembered her name, Ru. It was said that she was a reincarnator or a favored one from the Moon God Palace. Such a status would still make her a formidable presence in the current Immortal Realm. As for the other places like the Penglai Wonderland and Jade Pool Wonderland, and even the Immortal Realm Center, they all seemed to present a calm demeanor. Big brother? The little girl reached out, timidly tugging at Xiao Yan's sleeve and blinking up at him. She had sneaked out from the Moon God Palace to play, but the aura of this big brother seemed strangely familiar to that of a certain big sister in the palace, which was why she had approached him. Otherwise, if he were a normal human, she certainly wouldn't have behaved this way. It's fine. Xiao Yan gently patted the girl's forehead, then led her toward the bustling market. Clearly, they were headed to buy osmanthus cakes. Such a strange big brother. A soft voice echoed, but it was merely a small interlude within Purple Creek City. Before their departure, Xiao Yan had learned the little girl's name, Yuqi. As for other information, he knew nothing. After parting ways, Xiao Yan followed the concealed traces left by Xun'er and the others, eventually arriving at their base. Not long after, a violent spatial fluctuation surged within the city, accompanied by a dazzling silver brilliance and intense bursts of light. Along with this, an overwhelming, heart-stopping energy wave signaled that a powerful figure had shattered the void to arrive. A powerful figure is coming. The four of them gathered, with Xiao Yan standing in a courtyard within the city, looking up at the twisted void in the sky, his voice filled with astonishment. The spatial passage surged with violent waves as a snow-white vehicle, pulled by several pale white exotic beasts, appeared. A crisp sound of phoenixes and peacocks echoed from the sky, accompanied by an extremely peaceful and warm aura, making people feel an inexplicable warmth. Void Immortal Yuan Beast? It's said that this kind of immortal beast is unique to the Jade Pool Wonderland. It's a mysterious beast capable of breaking through the void. Only a few powerful figures in the Immortal Realm can have one. I wonder who this important figure is. It seems there's someone inside the vehicle. Countless fiery gazes from around the city turned towards the snow-white vehicle in the sky, their shock palpable. To possess such a mount in the Immortal Realm was undoubtedly a dual proof of both status and strength. Void Immortal Yuan Beast? Is it a genius from the upper three heavens? Hearing the countless exclamations from the city, Xiao Yan furrowed his brow. Although this kind of immortal beast had almost no offensive power, it was rare and extraordinarily capable, making it the top choice for some powerful sections. This kind of display was truly breathtaking. It seems that there are several hidden forces within Purple Creek City. Princess Qianqin unfurled her brows, her gaze sweeping across the vast realm domain. A few faint auras caught her attention, making her quite cautious. Xiao Yan of the Boundless Fire Domain, Danshan of the Dan Sect, may I have a word with you? Just as everyone hesitated, a graceful figure slowly stepped out of the vehicle. Her figure was lithe and captivating, truly a sight to behold. Immortal Realm beings had always exuded an ethereal and otherworldly aura, and even the women of the Immortal Realm seemed like celestial fairies, carrying an innate purity. Now, as this mysterious woman stepped out of the vehicle, she caused a huge stir. Jade Pool Wonderland? Jade Pool Fairy? As this elegant figure descended, phantom crane shadows flickered around her, exuding a serene and gentle aura. Below, exclamations and excited voices could be heard. Xiao, brother? Xun'er frowned, clearly worried about Xiao. Don't worry. The relationship between the Penglai Wonderland, Jade Pool Wonderland, and Grand Void Heaven has always been good. Now that the Jade Pool Fairy has entered Grand Void Heaven, something must have happened in the upper three heavens. Princess Qianqin shook her head as she gazed at the Jade Pool Fairy in the sky. Even though the mysterious energy surrounding her protected her aura, her gaze had remained locked on Xiao and Danchun in this city since her arrival. It seemed that her purpose was to come for Xiao and that person named Danchun. May I ask, what is it you seek? Xiao gaze shifted, a hint of confusion in his voice. I have a request. The Jade Pool Fairy responded indifferently, her voice soft and calm. Let's go. Xiao and a thin, dark-haired man from the crowd exchanged glances. Their bodies slowly rose into the air, following behind the Jade Pool Fairy as they once again entered the void, seemingly heading to some extremely mysterious place. An Immortal Realm journey seems far from as calm as it appears. Beneath the surface, is it the harbinger of a raging storm? Xun'er and the others could only shake their heads helplessly as they looked at the situation, returning to their courtyard. They began gathering information about the Immortal Realm Alchemy Conference while waiting for Xiao return. After all, the manner in which the Jade Pool Fairy had arrived made it clear that this was no small matter. Xiao and Danchun followed closely behind the Jade Pool Fairy, yet they could not see her full appearance. After all, her body was surrounded by an ancient barrier, and even her face was veiled by a thin silk. Something seems odd within her. As they made their way, Xiao's sacred flame began to stir within his body. Please remain calm. The Jade Pool Fairy spoke softly from atop the vehicle, her voice so gentle and weak that it evoked a sense of tenderness. Hey, brother. Who is this? Although Danchun's strength was only at the first reincarnation stage, his alchemy skills were ranked among the 8th grade earth pills. This level of strength and alchemical mastery would command the respect of countless people throughout the great thousand worlds. Yet, in the presence of the Jade Pool Fairy, he couldn't help but feel a sense of inferiority. It was even more puzzling when comparing himself to Xiao. Despite his vast accomplishments, Danchun felt an overwhelming sense of inadequacy, which was truly strange. Otherwise, with their current level of power and alchemical abilities combined, their pride would certainly be hard to suppress. I don't know either. We'll just have to wait and see, Xiao said with a helpless shrug. Both of them then turned their gaze toward the Jade Pool Fairy. Apologies for the sudden interruption. It's truly unavoidable, but the place we need to go to is the Jade Pool Wonderland, one of the upper three heavens of the Immortal Realm. As for the details, once we arrive at the Jade Pool Wonderland, I'll explain everything to you, the Jade Pool Fairy said, her voice low and calm. After seeing the puzzled expressions of the two beside her, she hesitated briefly, then decided to reveal some information. Jade Pool Wonderland? Danchun and Xiao both slightly widened their eyes at the mention of it. They had come here to attend the Alchemy Pill Conference organized by the Alchemy Holy Hall. How could they be taken away by someone from the Jade Pool Wonderland? Don't worry, this won't interfere with your time at the Alchemy Pill Conference. Besides, there's still plenty of time before the conference begins, she assured them with a smile. This trip is something we, the Jade Pool Wonderland, require. Regardless of the outcome, there will be a generous reward. With a gentle smile, the Jade Pool Fairy waved her hand, causing the space around her to distort. A dazzling starry sky appeared, as if it were descending from the heavens, making both men feel an unprecedented sense of confusion. According to legend, the Jade Pool Wonderland was one of the most revered and sacred places in the Great Thousand Worlds.